Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the season finale of Game of Thrones. Holy crap guys, this is season 8, episode 6. It all ends here. So many things could have went wrong, but I came away feeling very satisfied for a show that I hold in such high regards as one of my favorite TV series of all time. But I want to talk about today the specific episode that concludes the entire series. So just getting into it from a chronological kind of sequence, we open up with what is going on with the aftermath of Daenerys and what she did to King's Landing. She razed that city to the ground. No remorse, lots of innocence. She didn't care. She just burned it to the ground, as is from her destiny, what she thought of doing to take power over Queen Cersei and assert herself as the true ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. So we're following the character of Tyrion, who is just walking through the ashes. Now, at one point I thought it was ashes, but it looks like it could have been snow as well. So he is seeing the aftermath, skeletons, people just walking, burned. It's absolutely just horrifying. And he finds his brother, Jaime, alongside his sister as well as Cersei. And that is what it does, it does him in at that point, that he gets into this thought process of Daenerys is not the person I want to follow. And that is where we end up, is seeing, what happens with Daenerys. She is rolling from this high step, saying to all her followers, which are the Dothraki and the Unsullied, hey, I'm going to rule over the entire world. Now, this story we picked up from this character, episode 1, season 1, this very naive girl who was aspiring to take back what was owed her. And, well, this comes to fruition in this episode. We see her trying to create an empire, not just for Westeros, but she mentions the lands far out in the east. And that, to me, shows that, it's not just about her as far as ruling the people benevolently. She is trying to make this an empire. She is, liberating things along the way, but her sense of liberating has definitely morphed over the years. And to see that, Tyrion is then put in prison, and he has that awesome meeting with Jon Snow about, look, she knows that you are going to oppose her. You have to kill her. This is the only way that this thing's going to end, because looking into the future, you're going to be next. So she basically, sets it up that he is actually going to die if he doesn't kill her first, sort of thing. And, Jon was there in the battle. He was there, or not even the battle, I'll call it the massacre of King's Landing. He was there. He knew what happened, and it just doesn't, go the right way with Jon. Jon is always going for the right reasons, the good moral compass that he has. To see him take out Daenerys within the first half of the episode, yeah, I kind of expected that to happen, but, still seeing it come to fruition, still seeing Jon Snow killing Daenerys. That's what this whole series is about, right? A song of ice and fire. Jon is ice, Daenerys is fire. Fire and blood. And he's the one that had to put his own love down. That was tragic. That was heartbreaking. Seeing this character that we have grown up with, Daenerys, and seeing her turn to her Targaryen ways. Now, I know a lot of people have not been completely fond and on board with her turn in episode 5 of season 8. But Tyrion kind of justifies it in a way, saying like, look, she was liberating the people of Meereen, the people of Astapor, and she was burning alive all the evil men, right? She was burning alive all the evil men, and then it just snapped in her that she was going to burn the weapons of Cersei. So Cersei was her number one objective. Her number one objective was to get on the Iron Throne. Cersei was the usurper. She was the one, part of the reason why she was hiding out her life in Essos. So to see that Cersei was using the people, the innocents, as a weapon, Daenerys looked at it that way and tried to take out her people because they were part of the problem. They were the thing that were going to separate her from greatness. And as Tyrion greatly puts it, what would happen, he was talking to Jon, what would happen if, something stood in between you and paradise, basically? Would you conquer it? Would you overcome it? That was Daenerys' trial to overcome. And, well, maybe it could be argued that she took it a little bit too far And I explained it in my episode review of episode 5. But yeah, she might have went a little overboard, but that's her perspective. So I was happy to see that we dove into like what her perspective was. It would have been nice to see it from Daenerys herself, and we see her kind of going, mad queen by the end of it, but to at least have some kind of explanation was something that I was very happy about. Now, getting into what happened with the aftermath after she was dead, seeing Drogon kind of nudge her, that was very, very, that got an audible response from me as like, oh, I feel so bad. This, the baby dragon in season 1 is seeing, its master dead before it. But I did not expect, now this was super unexpected, was to see Drogon burn the throne. See Drogon burn the throne, but not harm Jon one bit. So that, to me, tells me that, the Drogon, sentient dragon creature, kind of, sensed that Daenerys, her fuel that burned was for the throne. She was looking towards the throne as her number one objective, and no matter what stood in her way, she was going to crush it. So the dragon took its own kind of direction and destroyed the throne, which was really the problem for everything. Game of Thrones, guys, it's in the title. This entire series of events has happened over almost a decade for us in real time. It's all happened because people wanted power for the throne. To see that symbolization of a throne with power, to see it just crumble and melt away, was something incredibly powerful. I did not see the dragon actually doing that. That was a really cool diversion that I didn't see coming. So then we get into the actual choosing of a new king. And I've speculated, I'm not sure if I told you guys about this in any of my videos, but I thought that maybe, that they would go into some kind of republic or democracy. Okay, monarchy's not really working, so we're going to get into this thing where we're going to have the people choose. Now, I thought it was pretty cool that Samuel Tarly was actually on that council. First of all, I loved seeing a lot of these characters again. It was great seeing, the Princes of Dorne and Yar Greyjoy, yeah, Greyjoys. Seeing all those characters represented, even Edward Tully and all these characters that I haven't seen in a while. It was awesome seeing them represented, and a couple weeks after the aftermath, I was really hoping to see that. So anyway, we get into Samuel Tarly proposing basically a democracy. Everybody was just laughing him off like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen in today's society. But they go for the next best thing, and that is to, vote for a ruler. Not, hereditary. It isn't going through the bloodlines anymore. But the rulers, the high rulers, the lords of Westeros, will choose a ruler that is going to succeed the previous one. So that to me is pretty cool, because they are actually evolving as an entire society over the years. We've seen what it's like to go in hereditary, usurpers, stuff like that. It just causes nothing but bloodshed, and I think these people have been through enough of that, so they agree, okay, we are going to choose a king. Now, this was another unexpected moment, guys, because we have Bran the Broken. That is right, Bran the Broken, the guy we see in the very first episode getting pushed out the window by Jaime Lannister. So let it be known to Jaime Lannister that he set afold the events that would cause the next king of Westeros. Not of the 7 kingdoms, but of the 6 kingdoms, because we have Sansa Stark, who completes her arc, her journey, and is really holding out for the North to be its own kingdom. And we see, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, that she becomes Queen of the North. But anyways, getting back to Bran, and the reason why I actually like the choice of Bran the Builder as a king and not Jon Snow. Jon Snow, first off, didn't want it. I couldn't really see Jon as a ruler. Yeah, he would be good to a point, but it wasn't in his blood. Whereas we have this ruler, and mind you, when I think of a ruler, for the most part, I think of somebody who's very wise. And I can't think of anybody else wiser, or at least somebody that has the intellect ability of Bran, because he can see through the past, the present, and the future. Now, imagine if you are a part of that council and you heard somebody who has the magical ability of doing so. I think most people are going to say, yeah, we're going to actually vote this guy because he seems like he's a seer. He seems like he can really help us out. Plus, another reason why I really like Bran as a ruler is because he's completely been neutral in this whole thing, okay? He hasn't really been involved with the affairs of anybody. I mean, heck, Jaime, he didn't even want revenge on Jaime, the guy that actually caused him to be in a wheelchair. So, looking at it from that perspective, he would make a pretty good ruler, at least I think, because he wouldn't be partial to any one side or any kind of conflict. So yeah, I think Bran was an unexpected choice, but I did like seeing Bran get the spotlight because he started off as a pretty big character and has since kind of fallen into the background. So pretty cool stuff there. Getting towards the end of the episode, we have the small council, and this was one of the this was the big comedic moment of seeing Tyrion as the hand of the hand of the king, and he's been a hand quite a many times at this point. I loved seeing Bronn as the master of coin. I loved seeing Davos as the master of the ships. I loved seeing the Archmeister, the Grand Meister himself, Samwell Tarly. What a journey this character has had. I loved it so much. I loved seeing all these guys bickering at the end. You have Bronn and Davos going back at it. You have Samwell. It was just a great moment that just instilled so much loving of these characters, basically, and seeing what's going to happen next. Like, these guys are all filling in. This is their first mission, or their first kind of deliberation, I guess it could have been, as a small council, and seeing how these characters are just interacting, which is absolutely awesome. Getting into it with the Starks and the goodbyes of the Starks. This really hit hard for me. We have the three Starks that are going their own separate ways. We have Arya, we have Sansa, we have Jon. And, talking about Arya, she's always been a free spirit. She didn't want to hang out with Gendry at Storm's End for the rest of her life, and that totally fits her character. She's always been out exploring, and now she's going to go completely out west, which, at least in the lore of the books, I do not think has been explored, really. They've gone very far east to the place of Ashai, but they haven't gone anywhere else west of Westeros. I do not believe. I got a serious vibe of the Lord of the Rings, which we know George R. R. Martin is very much a fan of. So, going to the lands of Valinor in the west, so to speak. So that was pretty cool. And seeing Sansa again, another character that has gone through so much stuff. I used to hate this character, especially in the books, but that's something else completely. But seeing her, at least in a TV series, going from this character of the little dove, this innocent girl that's very, she doesn't really know what she's doing, right? And going to a ruler, and she's been shaped through many characters like Tyrion, through Ramsay, through Baelish, has shaped her and hardened her to be the woman that she is. So to see her get her due, and everybody chanting her as the Queen of the North, was very triumphant, very uplifting, and definitely like that. Now, getting into what Jon Snow is all about. Now, Jon Snow, I thought he could have been king. And, I think a lot of people out there thought he could have been king. But when it all comes down to it, Jon has been, again, the guy with the moral code. I love how he started in season 1, I think it was episode 1 even, he started his journey towards the wall. And we see him closing out his journey at the wall again. This character has been through the ringer. He has gone to the wildlings. He has been killed. And now he ends up back at the wall again with good old Tormund's Giantsbane of all, and in wildlings, and he's charging north. But I couldn't see of any better ending for Jon, because this is what he loved doing, being out in the wall, and the interesting thing is, Grey Worm wanted him to die because Daenerys. Grey Worm wanted Jon Snow to die. But the council pretty much put it together. All the lords, just recommend, we'll just put him to the wall. And it's interesting because the wall used to be a place for, basically, well, it still is, but a place for the rapers and the people that are thieves, and just the bad people of the world would get pretty much banished there, because chances are they were going to die, because you had the wildlings at the time that were fighting against them. You had maybe the threat of White Walkers, which really nobody believed. But now that the White Walkers are dead, people are going to the wall basically as prisoners for the most part. That's where the prisoners used to go. They're going to keep continuing the tradition of the prisoners going there, with Jon Snow being one of them. Now, is Jon Snow Lord Commander, and where is he going north? And that's my next point, is the open-endedness of this series. And to me, that always makes a great series. You just don't leave it off where everything is tied with a neat, clean bow. You look at shows like Breaking Bad, you look at shows like The Sopranos, and they've all had very open-ended kind of endings, which are great because now it gives us something to talk about. Even though we're going to have 2 spin-off series of Game of Thrones at some point, at least according to the reports now, it does give us something to talk about now. What's going to happen with Arya? Is she going to find new land? Is she going to find new people? Is she going to settle there? Sansa Stark, is there ever going to be tensions between her and the Six Kingdoms? And now Jon Snow, what is he looking for? All right, is he looking for anything? Is he just wanting to go up north? Does that feel like where he belongs? You know, he was with the Grit for many months, or is it even years at this point? But are they looking for White Walkers? Are White Walkers going to come back? That's always been a theory of me, is like, I don't think we've seen the last of the White Walkers, even though there was absolutely no mention of them at all. But it could go within guessing. So again, that's just something that I thought about, is just like the open-endedness and what's going to come next. But yeah, overall, I was very satisfied with this series finale. There's a lot of things that could have gone wrong. There's things that could have maybe gone a little bit better. But again, that's asking a lot of a show that has gone on for 8 seasons now. How do you wrap something up that's this epic? No matter what you do, there's going to be people that are a little bit upset, a little bit angry of how certain characters end up. And I completely understand, especially since there's no books that are, created up to this point. Benioff and Weiss kind of have to go and speculate on what Martin maybe has done, or bullet points that Martin has made for the story points and stuff like that. But overall, very happy to see Tyrion and Davos survive. Very surprised to see Jon survive. I expected Daenerys to die. And it's just, I wouldn't say it's a nice ending as far as a happy ending. There's definitely a bit of bittersweet, which I came into expecting this, because this is Game of Thrones after all. There really isn't a lot of happy endings in the show. It's pretty somber for the most part. But overall, very happy, but also very, very sad, because this show has turned out to be probably my favorite TV series of all time. I'm not going to get into that too much in this video, because I am not going to stop talking about Game of Thrones to you guys on this channel. I will be doing my Series 8 review coming up soon, and I will be doing a complete series review of Game of Thrones. So stay tuned for that. Plus we have the books coming out. Plus we have the spin-offs coming about. So everything, A Song of Ice and Fire, I will not ever stop talking about. It holds a special place in my heart for sure. But I want to hear what you guys thought about the series finale of Game of Thrones. What were some of your favorite moments? What were some moments you think could have been better? Let's talk about it all in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I talk about Game of Thrones, but I also talk about other things like Star Wars and general movies and comics and stuff like that. So if you like anything that I said in this video and that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It helps support me a lot. That's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.